Welcome back to episode 4 of the now titled podcast, That's BS. I'm your host, Brian Sprague. Let's get into it. Shout out to the new subscribers. We hit the goal that I set last Thursday. I'm now at 37 subscribers. The goal was 35, so thank you so much for the support. I appreciate it, and we exceeded the goal, so very exciting about that. I think the goal I'll set for Thursday's video isn't too crazy. Let's say 40, so 3 new subscribers. Any growth is good growth, so pretty stoked about that. So first thing I'm going to get into is my spirit guide reading that I had done with Lunar Witch Tarot. I'll admit the first time I read through it, I did tear up and cry a little bit, but I've gone over it a couple times with some family and friends and things like that, so now I've been able to kind of not come to terms, stomach it, I don't know what the right word is, but anyways, now I can get through it without being emotional. It is pretty crazy and super duper accurate to me. And if you know me and when I'm reading these things, it'll definitely resonate with who I am as a person. So let's get into it. All right, bear with me. I'm going to be reading this off of my computer, so I'm going to be looking over here like this. So don't be offended that I'm not making intimate eye contact with you. As much as I would like to, I want to make sure that I can read this through and it's very clear. So here we go. Quick little background before I get started. I gave her very limited information before my reading. I just told her I wanted to know if the path I'm on right now is the right path. I didn't even mention the podcast or stand-up or anything really descriptive. I just said, am I on the right path? And then I also asked, a spirit guide is my best buddy Willis, who passed away 7 years ago. That's literally the only information I gave her. Is he kind of walking with me, being a guardian angel that I feel he is in my life. So I was super vague, and that's pretty much the extent of the information I gave her to conduct said reading. I've always been kind of on the fence with tarot and horoscopes and all that kind of stuff, because more often than not, they're very generalized, so that it's like, oh wow, that's totally me. It's super applicable. But after Mercedes' experience, I was okay, I'll give this a shot. So here we go. I'll get into the first part now. It's usually a 5-card reading, at least that's what I paid for, but it was a little bit delayed, so she did me a huge solid and threw in 2 extra cards. So here it goes. The first part is, which spirit guide came through today? And the cards that she drew were 7 of Swords, King of Wands, King of Cups. So here's her synopsis of those first 3 cards. So what chilled me right off the bat is that the 7 of Swords came up. The imagery on the card shows someone walking away in an angelic-like fashion. Additionally, she's also leaving behind pain. I feel like this is super symbolic of your friend coming through, especially because of the fact that it's the 7 of Swords and he passed 7 years ago. I'm also seeing through the King of Wands and the King of Cups that the 2 of you were great friends. Each king speaks to passion in their own regard. The King of Cups is just a bit gentler than the King of Wands. It looks like the 2 of you shared a really strong bond because you brought out the best in one another while teaching each other balance. It also looks like you shared a lot of interests and passions, which gave you such a strong bond. The King of Wands also speaks to being driven to success, so I'm also seeing that he's coming through to support you through this. You embody the King of Cups, so you sometimes have a more timid approach, as opposed to your friend who was more bold in his approaches. He's basically watching over you to give you help and that sense of strength that you need and the courage to succeed. If you know Willis, then you know that he is definitely not timid in his approach, and if you knew our relationship, he definitely helped me with my courage and my ability to kind of step out of my shell. I've always been an outspoken person, but he's definitely helped me in a lot of ways let my personality flourish and then not really worry about what other people have to say. And if you knew him, he definitely didn't give a shit about what anybody said about him, and he was always 100% authentic. So that really speaks to me, and he definitely created a lot of balance in a time of my life when I was going through great turmoil internally that I was kind of hiding from a lot of people. So that really caught my attention as the opener, and we're still 2/3 of the way to go. The next question she asked was, are you on the right path? The cards that she drew are the Princess of Swords and 6 of Cups. The Princess of Swords speaks to the process of owning one's truth. Although she hasn't figured out her approach yet, she knows that the plans she wishes to pursue align with her truth. With this, I'm seeing that yes, you are on the right path. However, you're looking at everything as a big picture as opposed to breaking it down into small steps. That's very much me. Rome wasn't built in a day, so neither will this. It's so easy in our society to get caught up with needing to accomplish things fast instead of enjoying the experience of doing it. If you allow yourself to break things down into smaller steps, you're going to feel like this is a much more manageable goal. You can turn all your dreams into reality, so ask yourself, what's the next thing you can do to get your goal? Once you start approaching it like that, it's going to be a lot easier to move forward. The Six of Cups speaks to childhood, so I'm also seeing that this has been a goal you've had for a long time. It also seems like this is something others view as unrealistic or saying it's not a grown-up decision. Firstly, this is not true. Secondly, doing things that excite us or connect us with our inner child aren't viewed as valid. The reality is that this is a huge key to happiness, and you can still be realistic while doing so. All in all, you should keep pursuing this. Your friend is also there guiding you through it right now. You know, it's definitely plagued me throughout my life, looking at things as such a big picture and not breaking them down into smaller, manageable buckets or items. You know, even if it's just going to the grocery store, I tend to overthink things. So that was pretty good advice for me. You know, fortunately, Mercedes is someone who's really helped me with that kind of concept into my life. I've always been someone who's been very goal-driven and thinks about the future and how to get there, but sometimes I don't enjoy the journey, which is kind of cliche, but it's very true. I often focus so much on getting to where we need to be that I don't enjoy the moment at hand. She is definitely someone who looks at the bigger picture and is goal oriented and things like that, but she has a lot more spontaneity in herself than I do, so she's really helped ground me in that way to where I enjoy today more so than I enjoy the year, if that makes sense. I mean, I just tend to enjoy moments more and savor those things rather than just be like, okay, cool, this is the next logical step. So it's allowed me to kind of navigate those waters to see things holistically rather than just as an ends to a mean. Okay, so here's the final message and the guidance from my guides. The cards that she drew were the Ace of Cups and the Four of Swords. The Ace of Cups represents the start of a new project or journey that's filled with so much love and creativity. That's BS. Your life plans are currently the Ace of Cups. Your friend wants you to know how valuable your ideas are and how capable of a person you are. It looks like you looked up to him a lot, but he wants you to know how much he looked up to you as well. Life is too short for you not to do exactly what you want, so don't let words of others stop you. He also wants to remind you not to be your own worst enemy, as you have a habit of doing that a lot. You know that's right. I'm also getting that he wants to let you know just how much he loves you and cares about you. Although you aren't connected in the physical anymore, that doesn't mean your bond has been broken. He's always beside you when you need him, and he's very proud of the person you're becoming. Lastly, the Four of Swords speaks to taking a rest and pausing. This serves as another reminder from him to not give up on what you're pursuing and to keep going. It also looks like you have a tendency to put something on pause when you get too overwhelmed, but don't come back to it. Don't do that with your current projects and push through any of those feelings. You're a lot stronger than you think. Obviously, all the stuff about Willis was really exciting to hear because I do talk to him a lot, pray to him a lot, seek guidance from him a lot, and obviously, like she said, not in the physical am I able to call him up and be like, hey, give me some advice about things, but I definitely feel his presence in my life often. There's a really, 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 really crazy story about me reaching out for help to him, but I think I'll do that in another episode. So it's something that absolutely changed my life for the best, and there's no way it's a coincidence. So I'll save that, but all in all, I think it was a really good reading. After doing it, my wife was even more ecstatic about her reading since I had such a good one as well. I think she's going to be reaching back out to Lunar Witch Tarot again to get more readings and whatnot. So I'll include her information here. So you can go ahead and reach out to her if you want to get a reading like this. Like I said, the one that we did was $35, and I think it was definitely worth it. I have no complaints, and I think that I would go get another reading again in the future, but I think this definitely energized me for moving forward for now. So we'll see about other readings. I know I focused on the reading quite a bit this episode, but I thought it was really cool and a great experience for me. And if that's something that you might be interested in, you'll have her information now to where you can reach out and pursue getting a reading done for yourself. But I thought it was something interesting to bring to the table. If that's something that you guys didn't like, please let me know in the comments so that I can avoid content like that in the future. I just thought it was really interesting and was something different. So wanted to make sure I shared it. And if that's something you can relate to, great. And if not, great. Let me know so I don't waste your time anymore. Something I mentioned on the last podcast as well that was devastating is that I wasn't able to do here's the nerd hour. I wasn't able to get a pre-order for PS5, and that was devastating because Mercedes told me she was going to get me one for Christmas. And after they did the launch thing on Wednesday, or the announcement of the price and the release date, they were supposed to do pre-orders the following day or have it organized, but it was a madhouse, and all the retailers and whatnot jumped the gun, I guess, and all the pre-sales went out. Fortunately, I didn't give up, and Thursday I just was snooping around on Walmart just to see kind of what their status was, because every other retailer I looked at said that they weren't currently available and you can get notified. But I looked at 5:50 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Walmart, and it said at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time the pre-orders were going to go live. So I immediately jumped out of bed, ran into here to the computer, and just opened up multiple, because I have an ultra wide monitor. I opened up multiple tabs of Walmart and was just refreshing until it was 6 o'clock. And then once it came up, I had already created a Walmart account, so they had all my information. So I was just clicking buttons at this point. And I got it through to where it was confirming our shipping address. And then it had just like the spinning circle, and then timed out. And then I went back in and loaded it, and they're all sold out. I was so pissed. So, of course, like any mature husband would do, I went back to my wife and pouted and told her, I can't believe this. I thought you were supposed to give me this for Christmas. This sucks. And I showed her, and I pulled up on like the Walmart app, like, look, they're all sold out. But then when showing her, I saw that it said pre-orders are available, reevaluating stock or something like that, and that we can notify you when it's available. So I like signed up for that. And then I was just like, all right, I'm not going to give up yet. And mind you, these pre-orders, once they hit 6 o'clock, all the stuff that was going on for me where it timed out, that was within a minute. And at 6:01, they were all gone. But then I saw this notification, right? So then I was like, all right, I'll be a little bit persistent. And then at 6:10, they dropped again. I freaking got one. So I'm super hyped. Thank you to the best wife ever for buying me a PlayStation 5 for Christmas. I'll be sure to wrap the box and act surprised that I got it Christmas morning. But super stoked about that. So if you're one of the lucky bastards like me, because I said last week, if you're one of the lucky bastards that got it, unlike me, comment below. But I got one. So reach out to me and comment and put your PSN in there so we can get the game in on November 12th, I think is when it comes out. So yeah, pretty stoked about that. Last thing in, gaming news, I guess, is crazy today. Microsoft and Xbox purchased ZeniMax, which is Bethesda, who is the creators of Elder Scrolls, Fallout, you name it, tons of huge games. And the only reason I bring this up is because they sold for $7.5 billion, which is insane. And then I was listening to somebody on YouTube talk about it, and they said that Star Wars sold to Disney for $4.05 billion in 2015. So that is insane to me that a video game developer sold for almost double of what Star Wars sold to Disney. And I looked at inflation and things like that just to calculate it and see like what it'd be now, and it was saying that the value of like Lucas, Star Wars, all that jazz is at a value of like 4.5 billion with inflation from 2015 to now. So that is crazy. I remember as a kid playing video games, and mom was like, go outside, you're rotting your brain. But I see all these like 12-year-old kids winning millions of dollars at tournaments, and then now this publisher sold for almost $8 billion. It's crazy how far video games have come. So it's the future, and I guess we got to get on board for it. So we'll see what happens. Clearly, I'm a PlayStation guy, but I have a great PC that I'm recording this on. So if it ever boiled down to where I can't get any of those games, I can always just do it on PC because they're all about supporting PC, not just Xbox. So I'm set. I must say I'm very excited that football's back. I'm even more excited that my Seattle Seahawks are 2-0. The game was very stressful against the Patriots this week. It was down to the wire like it always is when we play the Patriots. First off, I'm exhausted with them talking about the Super Bowl and the interception and not running it on the 1 yard line. Okay, we get it. This is the only thing you guys talk about on any sport outlet whenever anything prominent about the Seahawks comes up. It's ridiculous. But Russell Wilson is absolutely killing it right now. I know we're only 2 games in the season, but he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. Bill Belichick came out last week and said that Russell Wilson's the best quarterback in football. And then when somebody asked Russell about it, he said, "No doubt in my mind," or something cocky, which we're not used to seeing that from Russell Wilson. He's always been the humble guy, but, when Sierra is in his ear, I imagine he's a pretty confident guy. So that was really cool to see us get that dub and then kind of shut down the haters a bit. Like I said, it's only 2 weeks in, but I'm happy for football to be back, and maybe this is going to be a good run for us. I feel like we've always had, since Russell came in and with Pete, we've always had a good run of it, and Bobby and Jamal Adams is disgusting, and he's all over the field. But I think that this year is going to be a really good year for us. It's a very interesting mix-up in the league, and also something that's devastating is all these injuries. I've always bitched and moaned about preseason because it's that 4 weeks where you're just like, all right, this is garbage time. Let's see how our draft picks look. But at the same time, they're going against, the B and the C squad, so you're not really seeing how they're going to be on Sundays. But obviously, the preseason is really important because there was 15 major injuries like Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley. Pretty much everybody on the Niners is fucked. I hate them. I would never wish an injury on anybody. That's terrible. But anybody in our division, I despise. Again, wouldn't want to wish hurt on anybody. That's terrible. It's not only their livelihood, but that's their body, and it's really sad. And being an athlete, clearly I'm not anymore based upon my physique, but it's devastating, especially when that's how you put food on the table and that's what you've worked your whole life for. So quick recovery to all those guys, even the Niners. But it's just crazy how people are just dropping like flies out there. And also real sad about James White's family. I don't know what the update is on his mom. I haven't looked. Really, really sad to hear about his dad. Sports definitely brings people together. Kudos to our boy Russell here in Seattle. When they interviewed him after the game, the first thing he said was he was talking about James White and his family and reaching out to him. So that's a true testament to his character. That's just really sad to see. You never want to see anybody go through that. So Godspeed to James White's family, and really sad to hear that stuff. On a lighter note, I think a segment I want to try, and then we'll see where it goes. If you like it, comment below. If you don't like it, also comment below. But it's called Before COVID. And what I'm going to do is talk about things that I took for granted before COVID. So the first one that I'm going to mention is going to the barber shop and having your beard trimmed and cleaned up. So I travel a lot for my day job, and so I always get my hair done at Sport Clips because they're like everywhere in the Northwest. And so I can always go there, and I just do a 3 on the sides and then clean up the top. So it's super easy. It's like really hard to fuck up. But every time I go there, they always do my beard for free and all that stuff, and it's great. Whenever you go to a new location, you get like a free upgrade to the MVP, which is like the shampoo, scalp treatment, the hot steam towel, all that jazz. But now you have to like do it with your mask on. You can still do all those other things except for the beard trim. And so I got to come home and do it, which is fine. Like, I was doing that when I was a teenager, figuring out what having a beard and a mustache and all that stuff was, or lack thereof mustache. But I definitely took for granted them just doing it, boom, and it looking perfect. Now I have to like really try, because there's been times, and I'm sure other men out there who've done this, you'll put it on there and then you'll fuck it up and you'll like take a chunk out or go too short on one area or something like that, and then you'll just have to shave the whole thing. And when I'm skinny, I look really good without a beard, but now being as fat as I am, I have to have a beard. So it's always like, moment of truth when I have to trim my beard up. So that's something I definitely take for granted. Comment down below some things that you took for granted for our segment. You can do hashtag before COVID and let me know some things that you definitely miss. The creature comforts, I guess, in life. And that'll be it for the maiden voyage of our now named podcast, because, we had 3 episodes of the Untitled podcast, but the maiden voyage on That's BS with Brian Sprague. But it's just going to be called That's BS. Again, shout outs to you, Kumo Gold. This was a great idea, or at least spitballing of names. I think it's real easy and funny, and it's perfect for and ultimately a comedic podcast, especially when it's going to be a lot of people who come on here and just bullshit about stuff. So it'll be great. So thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great Tuesday, and I'll talk to you guys on Thursday. Have a good one. Peace.